I want to tell you something, guys. All the food that we bought, I mean, yeah, we didn't buy much, but we bought some. But what's interesting about that, when we dropped it off, the lady who was handing stuff out, she said that this lady came up and she's like, hey, we need some food. And she said, well, we ran out. So right now, we're actually coming back from church, and I decided to meet up with a friend of mine who is a senator here in Spartanburg County, and ask him a few questions so you can guys know what's going on in South Carolina, and also how we can direct some of the help where it's needed. And just to hear a little bit about what took place here in South Carolina, because I know some of you guys don't even know.
Well, first off, this was the largest disaster we've had in the upstate ever. I mean, we've never had this kind of power outages, this amount of wind and rain in the upstate. Even when I was a kid, and people who've lived here their whole lives remember Hurricane Hugo in 1989. Very powerful storm hit Charleston, very bad storm, but it didn't come directly to Spartanburg. So, in the upstate, Spartanburg, Greenville, hardest hit it's ever really been by hurricane force winds here in the upstate. Huge power outages. Even now, we're talking today on Sunday, October the 6th, over a week after the storm hit. Still some people without power. We've been able to restore most of it, but hundreds of trees down, thousands in fact, and hundreds of power poles down. In South Carolina, we've had around 40 people who were killed. Tragic, one of the highest death tolls we've had in a hurricane in South Carolina in modern history. But it still pales in comparison to what's happening in North Carolina. The death toll there is into the hundreds. Probably by the time it's over, it's well over 300-400. Certainly the biggest natural disaster to hit the upstate of South Carolina, western North Carolina in recent memory.
As we're driving through country, back roads of South Carolina, there are still places where power lines, cable, internet is down. So South Carolina is still in a recovery mode. The major cities like Spartanburg, Greenville, bigger cities, yes, they are pretty much functioning fully. But the country, the outskirts, they are still working on them. So yes, we didn't have bad as North Carolina, but there are places here where things need to be redone. Poles need to go up, houses need to be fixed, trees need to be cut down, because as I was driving, I saw trees are still laying on garages, houses, and some of those houses are abandoned. Yes, there was not as much devastation as North Carolina, but there is still some damage done by this storm.
Well, South Carolina's gotten a lot better. I mean, the situation here has improved. Most of the power's back as of today. About 90% of people in Greenville, Spartanburg have their electricity back. Some don't. We're still working on that, but it's much better now than it was earlier in the week. We've been able to open up throughout this week. If people paid attention to what I was sharing on social media and the Emergency Management Division, we had feeding stations all around the county, in both counties, Greenville and Spartanburg, 5-6 stations in both counties feeding people who didn't have food.
Those are easier to cook. My daughter loves them. It's because when you have hot water, you can have soup instantly. Try out these ones. Hopefully they have a lot of here. Seems like they have a small section of coffee here.
We provided water, and the National Guard was deployed. About hundreds of soldiers, about 700 South Carolina National Guard soldiers here in Spartanburg County, roughly equivalent in Greenville County. So we've tried to step up, help people who are in need, and get the power back on, get the trees out of the roads reopened. So South Carolina's faring pretty well right now. I mean, we're not diminishing the fact some people still need some help, and we're still trying to provide it. But the situation here is much, much better and dramatically improved. And now we've got to turn our attention to helping our friends in North Carolina, which is certainly the next phase of our recovery operations.
In the small town of Tryon, North Carolina, just 15 minutes from home, we decided to lend a hand with a local relief effort. Our plan was simple: buy a few supplies and check out how things were running on the ground.
Guys, so I'm driving to a drop-off site.
The area sits close to Chimney Rock and Lake Lure, two places heavily impacted by the recent storm. We wanted to see firsthand what the people there might need and figure out how best to support those hit hardest by the disaster.
So I guess this is people picking up supplies.
All right.
You can carry all this,
We
right?
soon discovered that the relief center would be closing in the next day or so. It was only a temporary setup and they need to relocate to another location. The space was originally a business and now it had to return to its usual operations. The sense of urgency grew as the current site prepared to wind down, making it clear that the relief efforts would soon move to a new spot.
Right now we're heading back home, and tomorrow we're actually gonna head back to Black Mountain. We're gonna be buying a lot of detergent, a lot of coffee, and other supplies. I wanna tell you something, guys. All the food that we bought, I mean, yeah, we didn't buy much, but we bought some. But what's interesting about that, when we dropped it off, the lady who was handing stuff out, she said that this lady came up and she's like, hey, we need some food. And she said, well, we ran out. So I came right at that moment and brought some noodles, some cereal, some coffee. So that was like right at the right minute. So, you know, sometimes we think we can't do, or sometimes we think, oh, this is only like, I only have this much, I don't have much to give. Whatever you give, it will go somewhere. Someone will be happy.
So we're heading towards Lake Lure. Seems like it's fine right now.
Being just 20 minutes from Lake Lure and Chimney Rock, we decided to drive over and see if there was any way to access the area. Last time I checked, from the other side, the roads had been destroyed, leaving it completely closed off. As we made our way there, the extent of the storm's devastation became even more apparent. Water had overflowed the dam, leaving behind clear evidence of destruction that hadn't been captured on camera. The damage stretched further than we could have imagined, and it was clear that recovery would take a long time.
Beautiful, wow. I didn't even know how close we lived by this place. I heard about this place, but never went here.
Once again, we hit a dead end. The road ahead completely impassable. With no way forward, I launched the drone to get a bird's eye view of the situation. From above, the destruction was clear. Water had surged through, wiping out everything in its path and leaving a thick layer of mud behind. Unfortunately, I couldn't fly the drone close enough to capture the full extent of the damage, as it was beyond its range and obscured by trees. But on the other side, you could see the cleanup crews hard at work, tirelessly tackling the daunting task of clearing debris and managing the damage.
So that's the dam, guys. Lake Lure. To fix the road behind us, as you see, it came apart. So how was your experience?
Well, we didn't get
Close enough?
in order to experience any of that. After being through so many centers here in South Carolina, I came to conclusions. Most relief centers are actually winding down and pushing their efforts toward North Carolina. So if you want to help and if you want to be part of this rescue operation or do something to help North Carolinians, you can actually hook up with a local church there on ground, or I can suggest Samaritan Purse. They're actually a good organization where you can donate your money or you can donate your time, and they'll put you to a good use. So if you want to be part of this, check them out, and I will see you on the next video.